Picture yourself at a casual dinner with friends. She laughs at something you said, but her eyes keep flicking toward you, then quickly dart away when you catch her staring. Your gut says, she's just being polite. But here's the twist. That glance, that tiny, almost imperceptible gesture, it's exactly the kind of signal women give when they notice an older man who carries himself differently. I know how confusing this feels. You think you have to constantly perform, impress, or be loud to catch attention. You might even doubt yourself when she seems distant. That frustration, I see it all the time. And trust me, it's exhausting. But here's the thing. Attraction isn't always about flashy moves or trying too hard. Sometimes it's about subtle habits, unspoken confidence, and the calm way you navigate life. Today, I'm going to show you the 5 habits that make older men irresistible. Not in theory, but in real life. These are small, practical, and highly actionable behaviors that signal strength, calm authority, and emotional magnetism. By the end, you'll know how to carry yourself in a way that naturally draws women in, without forcing it or overthinking. We're going to cover why she looks, then looks away. It's not what you think. How she secretly keeps your chat alive. The unconscious way she wants to be near you. The body language signal most men miss. What her friends reveal about her true feelings. By the end, you won't just see these signals. You'll understand them and know exactly how to respond with subtle confidence that pulls her in. Section 1. Why she looks, then looks away. It's not what you think. Imagine you're at a small gathering, sipping your drink, when you notice her glance at you. Your heart jumps, but just as quickly, she looks away, laughing at something her friend said. Your mind races. Does she like me, or am I imagining it? Here's the truth. That glance and dart is a classic signal, and it's rarely about shyness alone. Women often use fleeting eye contact to gauge subtle confidence. They're testing energy, emotional steadiness, and presence, all without saying a word. When she glances, then darts away, she's measuring whether you notice without overreacting, whether you carry yourself with calm interest rather than desperation. Let me give you a real-life scenario. One evening, an older friend of mine attended a networking event. She caught him looking and instinctively looked away. Most men would panic, try to force a smile, or awkwardly wave. But he simply nodded slightly and returned to his conversation. She ended up joining him later, because his calm, unshaken reaction told her everything she needed to know. He wasn't needy, he was steady, he was in control of himself. That subtle response is magnetic. This glance and dart matters because it's a test of presence. Women aren't looking for perfection. They're scanning for self-possession, emotional balance, and subtle attention to detail. If you overreact, you fail the test. If you notice but remain composed, you pass without saying a word. Next time you catch a glance and dart, breathe. Smile lightly if you want, but don't chase. Acknowledge the moment internally and stay grounded. Your calmness communicates more than any words or gestures ever could. It shows that you're secure, confident, and aware, the kind of energy that naturally draws women in. Here's the question that flips everything. If she's already testing you with her eyes, how does she continue that test when you're not even in the same room? That's where the next habit, the conversation bounce on, comes in. And trust me, it's a signal most men completely miss. Section 2, how she secretly keeps your chat alive. You've noticed it before. You send a casual text, maybe a, "Hey, how's your day?" She doesn't reply immediately, or maybe her response is short. You're tempted to overthink, to chase, to send another, but then, later, she follows up with something unexpected. Maybe a meme that perfectly references your inside joke, or a question about a conversation you had days ago. That, my friend, is what I call the conversation bounce. Here's a relatable scenario. A guy I know, let's call him Mark, was texting a woman he liked. She was slow to reply, and at first he panicked, thinking she wasn't interested. Then, out of nowhere, she texted him a link to an article she knew he'd find funny. That little nudge? It wasn't random. She was keeping the chat alive, subtly signaling interest while letting him hold his space. The conversation bounce is a subtle test of patience and confidence. She's interested enough to keep the connection, but she's also watching how you handle space, timing, and emotional regulation. If you panic and chase too hard, you lose the edge. If you respond with calm engagement, you reinforce attraction without ever needing to prove yourself. Most men make the mistake of thinking that constant replies equal interest. They don't realize that quality over quantity in responses is a huge part of attraction. She wants to see that you can maintain your composure, that you're not emotionally reactive, and that you can create value in your presence, online or offline. Next time she sends a subtle follow-up, don't overthink it. Acknowledge it, respond in kind, and then step back. Let her do her part and notice the patterns. If she's making the effort in small, meaningful ways, that's her testing your energy and readiness and giving you a clear signal that she's engaged. Here's a practical mindset shift. Stop treating every delayed response like a rejection. Treat it like a small dance. She's bouncing the conversation to see if you'll stay grounded, playful, and intriguing. Your job is to keep your rhythm steady, not rush, not panic, not over-explain. Now here's the wake-up call most men need. Sometimes you're sabotaging yourself without realizing it, and it's not her fault. You think you're attractive, confident, and in control, but a single overeager text or desperate move can destroy the magnetic tension she's trying to create. That's exactly what... Section 3. Her unconscious need to be near you. Ever notice how she somehow always ends up near you? Maybe it's at a party, a work event, or even just in a group conversation. She doesn't sit right next to you immediately. She respects space, but over time, her positioning shifts subtly. She leans in, angles her body toward you, finds reasons to be in your orbit. Here's a scenario to make it concrete. A guy named Alex was at a casual dinner with friends. He noticed that over the course of the evening, the woman he liked would naturally drift closer, sitting across from him instead of further away, lingering in the same conversation circle, laughing a little louder when he spoke. At first, Alex thought it was coincidence, but the pattern became obvious. Her body was giving him a signal louder than words ever could. This is the proximity game in action. Women are biologically and socially wired to signal attraction through subtle nonverbal cues. Where she chooses to stand, sit, or linger isn't random. It's a subconscious way of showing interest while protecting herself. But here's the wake-up call for men. Your behavior can completely ruin this dynamic. Men often make the mistake of overstepping boundaries, leaning in too soon, crowding her space, or forcing interaction because they misread her proximity. That kind of pushiness kills attraction immediately. On the flip side, some men retreat entirely, failing to acknowledge the signals and letting tension dissipate. Both extremes are self-sabotage. Your job is simple but powerful. Notice, but don't rush. Let her proximity guide your next move. Stand or sit in a way that respects the natural space she's giving. Mirror her subtle energy, a calm, lean, relaxed body language, playful engagement, without overdoing it. By letting her test her own comfort zone around you, you become the kind of man who naturally draws her in rather than pushing her away. Think of it like a silent negotiation. Every movement matters, but your power comes from measured presence, not forced action. Your calm confidence is magnetic, and it's what makes her want to come closer. Literally. Now, if proximity is a silent dance, the next signal is even more direct, though easy to miss: the accidental touch. That slight brush of her hand, the playful nudge, the touch that makes your pulse skip. It's subtle, but it's screaming her interest. And here's the thing, most men completely misread it. That's what we're unpacking in Section 4. Section 4, the number one body language signal you're missing. Have you ever felt it? That fleeting brush of her hand when she passes something to you, or the playful nudge during a joke? Maybe it's just a small accident, or maybe it's her way of saying, without words, I want you closer. Here's a relatable scenario. Liam was at a group game night, chatting with friends. As he laughed at a joke, the woman he liked brushed her hand against his arm. Just a quick, light touch. Most men would ignore it, or worse, overreact. Liam noticed. He didn't pull away or overthink. He smiled, kept the energy playful, and subtly leaned in during the next part of the conversation. That one small touch told him everything he needed to know. She's comfortable, interested, and giving him permission to engage more. These accidental touches are one of the clearest, most honest signals of attraction. They're subconscious, often playful, and test your response. Women use them to gauge your awareness, confidence, and ability to maintain composed energy. If you ignore it, she may feel your disinterest. If you overreact or act needy, you break the subtle tension she's creating. Here's a key point men often miss. It's not just the touch itself, it's how you respond that matters. Calm acknowledgement, a light smile, maintaining relaxed posture, matching her energy, communicates strength without words. It shows that you notice, that you're grounded, and that you're responsive in a confident, non-needy way. Next time she accidentally touches you, treat it like a test. Notice it, stay composed, and keep the interaction natural. Don't overanalyze. Don't try to escalate immediately. This is her way of inviting you in, and your response can either amplify that attraction or kill it instantly. Think about it in everyday life. Coffee lines, shared workspaces, social gatherings. Every small, seemingly incidental touch is a clue, a breadcrumb she's leaving to see if you can read the map. Can you? Are you paying attention, or are you walking right past it? So if touches are breadcrumbs, what about the way she acts through her friends? That's the final piece of the puzzle. Friends often reveal what she can't say herself. Subtle jokes, knowing glances, protective teasing. And here's the kicker. If you're not watching closely, you'll miss the biggest signals of all. That's what Section 5, the friend factor, uncovers. Section 5, what her friend's behavior reveals about her true feelings. Ever noticed how her friends act around you? Maybe they tease her when you're in the room or give you subtle heads-up glances. Maybe they ask her if she's been talking to you or jokingly nudge her when you laugh at something she said. At first, it might seem like harmless social play, but if you pay attention, it's a goldmine of signals about her true interest. Here's a scenario. Jordan was talking to a woman he liked at a small dinner. Her friends started joking about how she always mentioned him after their last hangout. One of them even leaned over and said, "You're lucky he's talking to you again." Jordan could have ignored it. Most men would. But he noticed, smiled lightly, and let the moment land naturally. That subtle awareness, not overreacting, not needing validation, made him stand out even more in her eyes. Friends are often the gatekeepers of attraction. Women might not explicitly tell you they're interested. Socially, it's safer to test the waters through friends. How they tease her, protect her, or bring up your name can tell you volumes about how she feels. If you ignore this layer of social behavior, you miss key signals. If you misread it, you risk blowing the momentum you've built with her through your own composed, confident actions. Here's the reality check most men need. This isn't about overanalyzing or gaming the system. It's about observation, paying attention, reading subtle cues without needing to force a reaction. When you do this right, it's magnetic, because women notice when a man moves through their social space with calm awareness rather than anxiety or desperation. Watch how her friends behave. Notice their teasing, their nudges, their small hints. Let it inform your understanding, but don't act on every joke or comment. Maintain your composure, respond with light humor if appropriate, and always prioritize quiet confidence over explaining yourself. Your calm presence in her social circle signals that you're trustworthy, steady, and genuinely intriguing, the kind of older man who's effortlessly irresistible. So, here's the question to leave you with. If you've noticed the glances, the conversation bounces, the proximity, the accidental touches, and even the subtle guidance of her friends, what do you do next? The answer isn't to chase harder or overthink. It's to be the man who naturally earns her attention without needing to demand it. And that, my friend, is exactly the kind of magnetic energy that makes older men irresistible. Here's the truth most men don't realize. Attraction isn't about trying harder, showing off, or being perfect. It's about presence, subtlety, and steady confidence. The older man who's irresistible isn't loud or flashy. He's aware, composed, and deliberate in how he moves through life and social situations. He notices glances without panicking. He responds to small touches without overreacting. He understands the rhythm of conversation, the cues of proximity, and the silent signals friends reveal. If you've been chasing validation or overanalyzing every interaction, it's time to step back and shift your mindset. Your value isn't in proving yourself, it's in demonstrating calm, grounded presence. That's magnetic, that's attractive, and yes, it's achievable. Remember, every glance, every conversation bounce, every subtle touch, and every hint from her friends is an invitation. Your job isn't to force it, it's to notice it, respond with composed energy, and let attraction grow naturally. The men who get it don't chase. They allow women to gravitate toward them because their confidence isn't loud, it's unshakable. Here's my challenge to you. In your next social interaction, pay attention to the small signals. Notice, interpret, and respond calmly. See how her behavior shifts when you do less talking and more observing with quiet confidence. A final thought to take with you. Attraction isn't created by effort, it's revealed through presence. Now go, notice the subtle signs, and let her come to you.